everyone, Beth Pinkley Johnson here. As the author of Lend2Live, How to Earn Hassle-Free Passive Income in Private Money Lending, and as a private money lending coach, I get asked a ton of questions about how to become a private money lender, as well as how to borrow private money. Here's some of those questions. Hi Beth, would this be a good fit for someone who wants to be a hands-off silent partner? The challenge here is that when you are a private money lender, you're actually the creditor, not the partner. So while you can actually lend money on it, you're not considered a joint venture partner on here, which is a really key distinction. There's a big difference between being an equity partner and being a creditor. In my personal opinion, being a private money lender means that you don't really have to get into bed with somebody and be on title with them. You actually get to lend them money, secure it with real estate, and no matter what happens with that project, as long as you have a really strong equity buffer protection, you're protected and you get paid. So in my personal opinion, I would much rather be a silent private money lender, but not a silent partner, because I really don't like getting into bed with people on their own projects. The next question is from Kurt. How do I get more money? Kurt, I know you personally, so I know exactly what you're asking for. But for those of you who are actually looking for how to become a better borrower and attract private money lending as a means of financing some of your deals, the best thing I can tell you is really share your story. Again, I've talked about it before, but you can share it on social media. A lot of people like to put what they call credibility packets together. And while that's good, I find that a lot of people don't really want to be pitched about a borrower. So it's really good to be able to come prepared, talking about some of the deals that you've done, some of the project experience that you've had, but people do deals with people they like and know. They don't do deals with people that they don't know about personally. So spend some time in really helping people within your network, your audience, better understand who you are, what you're trying to accomplish, and then share with them a little bit about your past deals and how they can contribute. The next question is, how do you balance supply and demand? In other words, balancing funds to lend with borrowers having qualified projects to lend on. This is a great question and something that I often get from people who are really trying to expand their private lending practice from that of a passive investment into a full-blown lifestyle business, meaning that they're going to use other people's capital to infuse into their private lending business. So how do you manage that balancing act? This is something that even 10 years into it, I still have a problem with. Sometimes I'm like cash poor and I don't have enough cash to fund the deals that I have in my borrower pipeline. And next thing you know, my borrower pipeline's exploding, or totally empty, I should say, and I have all this capital sitting on the sidelines. That's the private lender conundrum. The really big key here is, and though I don't have like a magic pill to take for it, it's just making sure that you're really out there socializing and marketing on both sides very consistently all the time. The amount of lead time it takes to be able to bring in a borrower and make sure that they're really somebody that you want to work with is a long lead time. In most cases, when you're out there prospecting, it doesn't matter what industry you're in, you need multiple touch points with these prospects. So the first time that you meet them at a meetup, you're not going to fund a deal that next week. It might be months down the road. So it's really important that you're not doing these fits and spurts and spending your time solely on borrower pipeline and then reshifting gears and moving over to building up your capital base. You need to be able to do some equal efforts on both sides and do it consistently. I like using social media for that. A lot of people might want to go out there and attend meetups and do networking that way. It doesn't matter what it is, it's really important that you're consistent in your approach on both sides. Thanks for watching my videos so far. Don't forget to hit like or subscribe if you found any of this information helpful. If you need help implementing any of this, look down in the description below for links. Jim asks, what all information do we need when approaching a private money lender? What specifics do you need to know about the person and or the deal? This is a great question. Again, I can't say it enough. Borrowers just need to come prepared. You need to be prepared on all fronts. You need to be able to educate the private lender on the project itself, but they probably need to understand a little bit more about private lending in and of itself as well. A lot of the people that you're going to attract to be private lenders probably have no experience in private lending whatsoever. They might not have any experience in real estate investing. The best way that you can bring them within the fold is to be really crystal clear on the project that you're trying to work on, the numbers that you have, so be prepared with financials and have it printed up to be able to speak to it and share with them so that they can actually look at the numbers, have comparables so that they can understand that you've done the research and really have created some realistic outcomes and expectations here. You also need to make sure that you work with the private lender to make them feel comfortable that you're going to protect that money as if it were your own. What bothers me the most when deals come my way is that people ask me if I can fund a deal, but they don't give me a project address. They can't come prepared with any numbers in terms of what they're going to purchase it for, what the project scope and the project rehab budget is going to look like, and what they expect the outcome for the after repair value to be. Shannon asks, what payment servicing company do you use? What personal information vendor or app do you use? For servicing, a lot of private lenders choose to service it themselves. I'm not really in that camp because I want to focus on what I do best, and that's originating loans. Other private lenders that I know really want to create a passive level of investment, so they don't want to service the loans because they would like a third party to do it. The company that we use most regularly is called Note Servicing Center, based out of California. They service nationwide. They're really great to work with, and they are very competent in what they do. And so that's the company that I would recommend. For personal information vendors, I actually don't work with any. If you've heard me talk before about how I actually underwrite the borrower themselves, I do a lot of web searching and online searching myself. I use tools like Pacer, which is public access to court electronic records. There's a small nominal cost associated with that, and you do need to have a little bit of expertise, but you can use some landlord tools that can help you run background checks and credit checks. I don't utilize any of those on my own, but you should look up some landlord associations or property associations locally to see if they offer any services that can be applied to you. If you don't have any landlord associations locally that you feel comfortable working through, you might check out some other resources like Stessa.com or I think it's Rentometer or companies like that that offer property management solutions and software and can do some of these services for you, like the credit checks, the background checks. Ashton asks, what's your target ROI from an annualized perspective? So again, I'm not necessarily your traditional passive private money lender. I have grown over time, and we have a thriving origination business and a private debt fund that corresponds with that. So for me, my annualized target return happens to be for my Lend2Live debt fund itself. We have a pref return on there. We try to hit double-digit returns for our passive LPs that invest through us. But as a company, generally, like from a borrower note rate perspective, we're looking at trying to charge anywhere from 2 to 4 points, depending on what position that we're in. And we like to have borrower note rates that are anywhere from 11.5% to 14%. Again, depending on the loan amount, the LTV, and the lien position too. Kevin asks, what is everyone structuring fees for double closings and transactional lending and points? We don't actually do a whole lot of transactional funding, and I don't really prescribe to doing EMD or double closings in a lot of cases. In this situation, when I am coaching others, new and novice private money lenders, I really advocate having a secured asset that protects their loan. This means transactional lending and EMD funding, as well as gap funding, even though it's secured by real estate, doesn't have an equity buffer to protect the private lender. Vincent asks, what are all the ways to add to your income outside of interest, points, and closing costs? Well, Vincent, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. As a private money lender, you can make loan origination fees, you can make interest income, and then you can also get a little bit nominal associated with the closing costs, maybe servicing fees as well. Again, I operate a private debt fund, so I'm not truly a private money lender lending out my own capital anymore, although I do that on the side. But the nice thing about private money lending is it's just as simple as that. You earn based on the loan origination fees and the interest. When it comes to operating a private money debt fund, I can, as the general partner, earn asset fees or management fees, similar to what you would get in a syndication. But again, for your true passive private money lender, it's just a simple form of predictable, consistent, passive income. It's the interest income. You might be able to make an interest sped when you sell out that loan or involve another co-lending partner. But again, that's a little bit more of a complicated strategy. And at the end of the day, it's still an interest income. So again, you're getting interest income and loan fees. You might get a few fees out of closing costs, by charging like an administration fee or a processing fee or loan doc prep fee. And you might, if you service your own loans, charge a little bit monthly for a servicing fee. But again, that's like maybe 10, 20, $50 a month. It's not really that much that's going to move the needle. So your primary sources of income are truly going to be origination points and interest income. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted some questions. This is just the tip of the iceberg, and I get questions asked a lot. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Look in the description below for links. Would love to hear them, and I look forward to some more questions for you.